What's up, Dirt Trax viewers? Luke here. I'm bringing you a walk around today on something completely different. Our show is called Dirt Trax TV. Tracks in the dirt. That's what it's all about. And there are many ways to make tracks in the dirt. ATVs and side-by-sides are just a couple of them. Today I'm taking a look at another way to make tracks in the dirt, an e-bike. Many of you know I ride mountain bikes, have my whole life and love it. We started working with Scott a couple years ago for a goggle supplier for both dirt tracks and snow tracks. And Scott makes arguably the very best mountain and road bikes in the world. It's one of the larger parts of their business. They recently started building their own line of e-bikes, and an e-bike is an electric assisted bicycle. So you can see down here, this doesn't look like your average bicycle, because it's not. This is called the eSpark 720. It's a 2018 model. In 2019, there are some significant changes to this bike. Sorry, in 2020, there are some significant changes to the 720 model, mostly that it doesn't come as a 720. It comes as a 920, and what that refers to is the size of the wheel. So this bike has a 27.5-inch wheel with a 2.8-inch tire. It's a great setup. I actually think it's perfect for an e-bike like this. But in 2020, you can only get this version of the bike with a 29-inch wheel. My mountain bike is a 29-inch wheel. On the e-bike, I'm sure it's fine, but I actually really like the 27.5 with that big tire. So anyway, something to think about. Let's talk a little bit about what the e-bike is. So this system here, you can see it says Shimano. This power system is called the Shimano Steps 800 power system. It's a 250 watt power system with a 500 amp hour battery in the down tube there. And it gives you assist while you pedal. It does not have a throttle. It will not just drive while you sit on it. You have to pedal. But when you pedal, the engine kicks in, the motor kicks in and gives you assist. And there's 3 levels of assist that you can adjust from this little screen here, which I will turn on. There we go, Shimano Steps. The button for on and off is here on the down tube, along with the charging port and all that fun stuff. You have your screen here that gives you battery life, tells you your speed, and tells you what mode you're in. And then you have a switch over here that adjusts your mode, so up and down. So here, obviously it's off. Then we have Eco, Trail, and Boost. And those are your 3 levels of assist. They are drastically different, so there is a spot for all of them. But in Eco mode, you simply get in the appropriate gear. As I said, you do have to pedal, which means the gears are still valid. They're still necessary, and being in the right gear is still necessary. Much like if you were riding a bicycle and you had to pedal up a really big hill, if you were in too tall a gear, your legs wouldn't have enough power to pedal the bike in that gear up a hill. Well, this motor doesn't have enough power if you're in the wrong gear, so it is still gearing specific. As long as you're in the right gear though, you can just sit back, pedal easily, and the bike will pull you up a hill. Especially in boost mode, it'll pull you up amazing hills. And that's really what it does. It just makes riding a bicycle easier. And to me, it's valid for dirt tracks, because there are people out there who love riding ATVs and side-by-sides, who just generally love being outdoors, and maybe would love to ride a bicycle and have that different experience outside. It is a very different experience than riding a motorized vehicle. But maybe they have physical limitations. Maybe they're not in the best shape, or not in shape enough to ride a regular mountain bike. Maybe there's injuries that stop them from being able to ride a regular mountain bike with the effort that's required. E-bike's the answer. Anyone can ride this thing, which is really cool. And it's also really fun. For me, would I buy one? I wouldn't buy one if it was my only bike. I still like the challenge of riding a mountain bike and the effort required, and obviously the fitness of it. I like that. The reward of climbing a hill, the reward is to run back down the hill, and that's something that I really enjoy. So this wouldn't be my only bike, but if I could have 2 bikes, if I was super rich, I would definitely have this bike for sure, because I could ride all day, tire myself out on my regular bike, and then go back out on this and ride for the afternoon with using way less energy. So I think that that's valid for me, but there are lots of people out there who can definitely benefit from this, and I think there's ATVers and side-by-side riders out there who could really benefit from this type of vehicle, and maybe it's something you never thought of. But let's quickly just go over the specs of it. You got a Fox 34 Performance Series shock or fork on here. It has rebound adjust. It's an air fork, so you adjust your spring rate with an air pump. You got a Fox, it's called a Nude DPS. fork, or shock, sorry, which is, I don't know why they call it a nude, but it's an evol chamber shock. Down here, you're going to see this little adjuster thing on the shock, and up here on the fork. Those are both linked to this lever here, which is called the Scott Twin Lock system. And basically, if I push this, I limit the travel from 130 millimeters front and rear, I believe down to 85 millimeters front and rear by pushing this lever one click. It also stiffens up the front and rear shock and fork to give you a stiffer ride but less travel. And that basically means when you're pedaling, the vehicle doesn't bob. The bike doesn't bob up and down with your pedal strokes, so you're not losing as much energy in suspension movement while you're pedaling. The next lockout lever, or step, I guess, is this one. That's full lockout, which means the front and rear have no suspension. It locks them solid. That would be if you're climbing a really big hill. Now, to me, that's not a very necessary system on an e-bike, because the electric motor is giving you enough assist that it really doesn't matter if you're using up energy in suspension movement while you're pedaling. That really is kind of a non-issue to me. Same with the big tires, those 2.8 tires. They would be a little bit harder to pedal on a regular bike, but because you have e-assist, it really doesn't matter. The motor makes up for that. This bike is also 50 pounds. My personal mountain bike, pedal bike, is between 26 and 27 pounds. So you've got a serious weight penalty on this bike. But again, the motor makes up for it, so it really doesn't make any difference. SRAM NX drivetrain. So you got your SRAM NX derailleur here. 11-speed cassette. That's something that would change on the 2020 model. It's not an NX. I can't remember what the new model is, but it's a 12-speed on the rear. I personally think that this SRAM NX drivetrain on this bike with the shifter up here on the handlebars, it felt very clunky to me. I like Shimano shifting systems better. That's a personal preference, but this one in particular seemed very clunky. You know, it's not a high-end drivetrain, so that's just all there is to it. It works fine. There's nothing wrong with how it works, but I would I'd switch it up for Shimano. I'd have my shop do it before I went home. This here is for your dropper post. So the seat post goes up and down. For an aggressive mountain biker, that's great for when you go down a steep hill. You can drop the seat and it won't get caught on your stomach when you're trying to hang off the back of the bike to go down a really, really steep hill. But for an e-bike like this one, it's great because anyone can try it. My wife can ride this bike with the seat down, and I can ride it with the seat up. So that's kind of fun for an e-bike, but still you could ride this aggressively with 130 millimeters of travel. So that seat dropper post could come in pretty handy. Cranks are basic Shimano cranks. There's nothing special about them. 34 tooth front chainring. So pretty standard drivetrain setup. Brakes are Shimano. They are Dior level brakes, which is an entry level brake. But they have a 200 millimeter rotor, which is basically a downhill bike size rotor, and it's needed on this bike with the extra weight for sure. I would say the brakes are maybe another weak point of this model, but again, this is an entry-level model bike. This is not the super high-end e-Spark. They do the job, but I'd certainly like better stopping power on a bike that's 50 pounds. With that said, you can ride it this way, no problem. I've been riding it this way for a month, and it hasn't given me any trouble, so it's all just personal preference, but good quality brakes, if nothing else, that's for sure. You can see your powertrain or power system on this side. It's really a nice looking integrated system. It looks really slick. And again, under here, you got your power button with your battery meter and all that kind of stuff on the bottom side of the down tube. Overall, I'm really impressed with this bike. Overall, it does exactly what I thought it would do when Scott called and asked if we would want to try one. I was curious to see what it was all about, whether or not I'd actually like it, whether it would make any sense. As a mountain biker, was I going to see it as cheating? A little bit, yeah. If this is your only bike and you're an able-bodied person, then yeah. But again, I have to really stress this. If you're the kind of person who would love to go mountain biking, but you just can't, this is the answer for you. And I think a lot of ATVers and side-by-side riders are in that camp. You know, you go camping for the weekend, you take your side-by-side with you, maybe the kids load up their bikes or whatever, we got some teenagers or the wife wants to go for a ride, whatever, but you're just not up for it. This is the solution, because anyone can ride this on the trail and have a great time. It's a completely different feeling, a completely different experience than riding a side-by-side or an ATV. I think it's valid. I think that, again, Dirt Trax, tracks in the dirt, this is an off-road vehicle as much as any ATV is. It's just a very, very different kind. I will say this, as a Scott bike, we work with Scott, but I owned Scott bikes before we started working with them because I think they are the world's best bikes. They win world championships every year, which sort of validates my opinion on that one. But this is an extremely high quality mountain bike. It's an aluminum frame, aluminum swing arm. Everything about this bike is the best of the best. Build quality, finish quality. Scott has got a great warranty. This is a great bike, and I would never hesitate to buy a Scott product of any kind, this one included. With that said, there is a bit of a price, I don't know what to call it, limitation, let's say. These are not cheap vehicles. It's not something you just go out and buy for the fun of it. You got to make sure you want it. With that said, and again, to reiterate my earlier point, this is a really unique and fun way to get around outside, and I think it's something that people will, if they give it a chance, will really find a love for and experience a new way to be outside and have fun. So I wanted to bring you guys something completely different than what we're used to here on Dirt Trax, something that I have a love for, and share that with you guys as well. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed, at the very least, learning about something new. If you have any questions, comments, whatever, leave them in the comment section below. And yeah, stay tuned for more content. If you guys like this sort of alternate content, let's call it, stuff that's not ATVs and side-by-sides but is still off-road, let us know. Maybe we'll try and dig some of it up and do some more of these walk-around videos of other unique things. For now, though, Scott eSpark 720. Check it out when you get a chance. Take a test ride if you ever get a chance. Tune in next time for something new. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching Dirt Trax TV. I sincerely hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you click the like button and leave us a comment if you have any suggestions for future videos. Also, turn the bell on so you can be notified of our future updates. Most importantly, in my opinion, is make sure you get out and ride.